Is that Bobby? Bobby? I'll just go by his office tomorrow. You know I had one, right? Oh, did you get that?
What's this one got to do?
Text message on Blackbird extension? But isn't Blackburn extension on the west side?
City Council public hearing agenda, September 13th, 2022, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Divatario,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Leon,
Present.
Councilman Wells.
Item number 1,
An ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Meshach F. Samuels, owner, to rezone 0.313 acres of land from RS-3 to MX-N, located at 1102 North Cherry Street, per survey by William J. Bodine, PLS dated 2/8/2022, zoned RS-3, Z-2022-04-00107, Lacey Landrum.
This item is one that we have discussed now several times at the podium. Mr. Samuels is looking to rezone this property because he purchased it and then realized it was not zoned the way he thought it was. He would like to install a car lot. When this came before the council the first time, he was very insistent on regular commercial. Y'all referred him back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and so he worked with the commission to calm down to a more restrictive use. It would be rezoning to MXN, which is mixed neighborhood, which does seem to fit a little easier in neighborhoods. The commission also established several, they did an expanded conditional use on it, which means that it only applies to Mr. Samuels as he owns the property. It cannot be transferred to another owner, such as if the property was sold. They also took the due diligence to limit the number of vehicles that would be there up to 10. They talked about fencing and screening to make it feel more residential, to make it less obtrusive to the neighbors. They talked about no car repairs could be performed on this lot so that there wouldn't be a noise element or other things like that. So the commission worked very diligently to come up with an expanded conditional use that only applies to Mr. Samuels. That's what we're here to discuss today at the public hearing, so if there's any questions about that.
Any questions or comments from anyone in the public? Any questions or comments from anyone on the council?
I'll reiterate my concern with some of the stipulations. I appreciate the planning and zoning's trying to work with and make this fit. As I said last time, I'm a bit concerned with enforcement of some of these restrictions, which seem a bit burdensome on the city to maintain enforcement. And if it's not being enforced, then it's against what he's trying to accomplish and the planning and zoning is trying to accomplish. So I think that's a problem, and it might be helpful if this is your district and you've received some feedback from residents.
I've received some calls from a few of the residents in that area, and as I stated last meeting, that I'm totally against rezoning this in that district for that. If we move forward with doing something like that, we're just opening up the door for future things down the road. So those are my concerns about it. Anyone else? All right. Hammond City Council regular session agenda, September 13th, 2022, 5:33 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Divatario,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez, Councilman Leon,
Present.
Councilman Wells.
Pastor Matthews, could you come up and lead us in prayer, please?
Let's pray. Precious Father God, we thank you for your love, your kindness, your tender mercy. I ask you to lead us and guide us tonight in this meeting. Look upon the mayor, the entire administration, the entire council, all those in attendance. Let it be a blessing. Let it be a success. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. For our Pledge of Allegiance, all active veterans, all veterans and active military, please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need to get a motion to approve our minutes of August 24th, 2022 meeting, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Now, in the presentations, is someone here from the COPE project? Okay. I have another presentation that I would like to make. I'd like to make this proclamation on behalf of the City Council. Michael Kyle, the principal of Hammond High Magnet School. Whereas the City of Hammond is honored to recognize Michael Kyle as being the first African-American principal of the Hammond High Magnet School. Whereas before becoming Hammond High Magnet School, it was the Greenville Park High School, or the colored school. Greenville Park High School was classified as a three-school offering basic courses required by the Louisiana State Board of Education, vocational training, and industrial arts, carpentry, agriculture, home economics, business, and music. The Greenville Park School competed in the LIALO in athletics and academics. Their last and largest graduating class of African American students was in the class of 1969. Whereas in 1970, the school was integrated to Hammond High School. It is the second largest high school in the Tangible Parish school system and became Hammond High Magnet School in the academic school year 2010 and 2011. Whereas at June 15, 2022, the Hammond High Magnet School welcomed its first African American principal, Michael Kyle. The City Council and the City of Hammond are honored to have him as the principal of the best school in the parish. Therefore, I, Kip Andrews, Hammond City Council President, do hereby recognize Michael Kyle for his outstanding achievements, commitment, and dedication to the faculty, staff, parents, and students of the Hammond High Magnet School. I ask the citizens of Hammond to join me in celebrating the first African American principal of the Hammond High Magnet School, signed this day, Kip Andrews, President of Hammond City Council. Well, if someone from COPE comes in, we'll let them come up toward the end of the meeting. We'll go ahead and move forward. Final adoption of ordinance.
Final adoption of an ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Meshach F. Samuels, owner to rezone 0.313 acres of land from RS-3 to MX-N, located at 1102 North Cherry Street, per survey by William Bodine, PLS dated 2/8/2022, zoned RS-3, Z-2022-04-00107. Lacey.
I don't have any additional information to add to this one.
Anyone from the public? Any other additional comments from the council? Pleasure of the council. I make a motion to deny.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Leon, Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Introduction of art, well, okay, we can skip that part. All right, yeah.
No, we did, yeah.
All right, introduction of ordinance and set for public hearing. Number one.
Introduction of an ordinance to transfer $204,158.84 from the sales tax 203 fund balance to a new project to pay for city's 10% cost share of the Hurricane Ida debris removal. FEMA paid for 90% of the cost. Lacey Landrum.
So as stated, the invoice has finally come. We knew this would come one day. This is both for the debris collection that happened in all the months from the hurricane all the way through June 30th. So this is for the debris collection, and then FEMA requires debris monitoring, which is a second service that is also included in this. So this is our total cost through June 30th for all debris removal related to Hurricane Ida. FEMA is paying 90% of the share of this cost. The city's 10% cost is $204,158.84. We're proposing to take this from the sales tax fund balance, which is not allocated yet, and to move it in. We could also use the emergency fund, but we figured there's a good surplus, a healthy surplus that's in the sales tax fund balance. That's why we're recommending it come from there.
Can you tell me, so this is just the city limits of Hammond? That's how they
correct.
calculated that amount?
That's correct. And they have GPS monitoring that they do. They drop pins literally every time they pick up something. That's part of the monitoring process. Is not only does FEMA require GPS coordinates for each location, but they require photographs of each location as well. This included several locations where it was not accessible via just the general road, where they had to take an extra piece of equipment or two to drag it to the road on some of our more narrow streets and areas like that. So this does not mean that they are totally 100% complete, because there are some pending locations. The parish also has a newer program that they're still qualifying people under for house demolitions as well. So we're still kind of investigating some of those and referring people that we see that may qualify under those parameters. But this is the bulk of, this is the vast majority of all of our debris collection.
So what about some of the residents who haven't gotten to the remodel part of their house and they have the construction debris? Who are they supposed to call whenever they've gotten, if it was flood, they were dealing with insurance and everything, and they're trying to do it themselves and put out by the road, and the garbage company may or may not pick it up, who they're supposed to call for that?
So we have worked out with the garbage company that they do pick up in and around that container. If it is, truly the residents doing themselves, then we could probably work something out. But in general, the contractors are required to remove that. That's part of their scope of work. And at this point, since we're a year out, it's harder to get those things approved through various means. We can still talk to the parish and see if they're willing to come and all that kind of stuff, but it's much harder to mobilize this debris contractor now that we're so far out.
Yeah. I just think they just had a couple, and it may have been laying out in the front for a while
Yeah.
at some areas of the city, and that's, I was getting at that problem right there. And if
Sure.
M-Waste or the garbage company doesn't want to pick it up, they just, I need to refer them somewhere, and some of them are doing it themselves
Right.
at some point with residential homes, toilets, and
Yeah.
other variety of
We've done it at
remodel.
our house too.
Yeah, and so a lot of them are just late on doing it, or they may have flooded.
Right.
And they've been waiting on insurance, so some lagging is going on in certain areas.
Right.
And they're just asking me, why aren't they picking it up, who they need to refer to. So
If you'll just provide that address like you
Yeah.
did for the one over in Alida.
I lied, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that they're going by to look at everything, and,
Okay.
and we're going to come to some sort of resolution between the city and the contractor, the garbage
Sounds good.
contractor.
Thank you.
I have one on Florida Street that I've mentioned several times.
Yes, sir. That one we turned into the parish.
Well, I tell you, if I didn't come to the council meeting, I would have never known that. Then I had the one on Brent Street. I know myself, I'd have mentioned this one here over 10 times
I think there are.
off of Mississippi Street.
Yeah, I think there's one or two that have been referred to the parish, and we have talked about that. I know there was another one that was way off private property, like way long ways from the right-of-way, and was going to have to be brought forward. So,
That's Mississippi Street.
yeah, I know we've had conversations about those.
Okay, it's amazing, though. Here, you want me to sit here and pay a bill, and I done talked about this over 10 times. All the city councilmen is aware of it. I done talked about this over 10 times. Now, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to sit here and approve of paying a bill when this was never mentioned to me, and I don't really think y'all really know where Brent Street go at, and Ward Curve.
I've driven down there myself, so I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Okay, so now you know what I'm talking about. But why we wait till now to even tell me that y'all done looked at it, but it still haven't been picked up, you know? So I don't know, if I don't come to the council meeting, I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't learn nothing if I don't come up here. Because we never discussed it, we never talked about it. I never saw it in an email. Now it's just mentioned that you all done had discussion about it, but it's in my district, and I've been talking about it for over 10 times.
I think we've discussed it several times here. Yeah.
With,
Robert Williams.
And Robert Williams, I think, has had discussion about it, too.
okay, the problem is, they got an oak tree that you need a low machine to get back there and get it. So, it's amazing how y'all discussed it, and we never discussed it about it. You know, Robert Williams, the mayor, you, Lacey, we never talked about it. FEMA, Red Cross, the parish, but yet the residents, they still paying taxes. And I heard you say that it's been a year, you know, because we the ones suffered a lot with the raw sewer coming in our houses. So what was that was discussed too?
With the raw sewer.
Yeah, the sewer coming up in the houses. Yeah.
We discussed that at the meetings, yes.
Okay, so it's amazing how y'all have meetings and,
No, we had that at the council meeting.
okay.
I remember there were
And
several.
what did y'all
council
come up
meetings.
with?
We talked about the raw, so I don't know which houses you're referring to, which
I'm
addresses.
talking about all the houses on Mississippi Street, the houses on Mooney Avenue Street, the house, Viney though was completely, everybody on that street had raw sewer coming in their house. So I don't remember we sitting down having no discussion about this.
That was discussed at several of the council meetings.
Okay, well, it's on the record, we've been discussing it, but we never did come up with a solution.
I think some of those people followed the discussion that we had, which
Oh.
was to turn in the addresses and to go through the claim process, and I think some of those people did that.
Yeah, they went, yeah, well, be exact. I'm the ones turned them into HR. But just sent the email out last week or this week to HR to see what was going on, the outcome on that.
Well, once that gets turned in, it gets turned over to the insurance company. So we as employees don't have, we don't have any control over that. That becomes an insurance matter.
Okay. Well, I know for myself, I don't know about the rest of the city councilmen, but I'm having a lot of issue with the debris. We still got stumps in the community. Right by Hammond Junior High, we had a tree to fall right there, and we got a stump grounded, but they still having issues trying to cut the grass and stuff. So I don't know. I'm really confused on how this stuff come up. But when do we ever sit down and talk about it? You got a bill, you say they took pictures, you had a monitor behind them, but look like they bypassed a lot of spots in District 3.
I think they picked up a lot of spots. We turned in a lot of addresses, and there was a lot of collection that happened.
Well, apparently we ain't turning all the addresses that I've been giving out, because I keep giving the addresses out on Brent Street, on Florida Street, but yet we still seeing it, but they keep calling me, asking me what's going on. I said, well, when I get to the council meeting, I ask about it again. And so now I'm looking at a bill that, and I sat there and said this here earlier. Let's get the parish to pick up everything we can, keep from having a bill. You know, I said this here once before, and that didn't take place. Now the city was stuck with a bill now, with FEMA picking it up when it should have been picked up by the parish.
This was the parish contract. This is our portion for Hammond city limits of the parish contract. This was the debris collector that the parish went into contract with, that we participated in, and this is all the debris that was collected within the city limits of Hammond.
Well, I still haven't had the trash picked up on the address that I'm giving you now. We still got trash there.
I want to just ask one thing. From here on out, with some of the flooded properties that are being remodeled late and some of the debris, when homeowners ask me who to contact, do you want me to send it to Dory or send it to you, or who needs to be notated?
Why don't you do both?
Okay, just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
Because we got to make sure that they were listed on
Yeah.
the flooded properties list, and that it's not new things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them are starting to work on them now. Not a lot, but there are a lot on that light area that have been doing it themselves because they may not have had insurance or whatnot, so it's been dragging out, and I'm starting to get some of those calls, so I just wanted to make sure that I can just send them to the right contact once.
That'll be fine.
Thank you.
This is an introduction. We will have to move the money next meeting, and then we'll have a separate resolution for this actual bill. Is that right?
No, this
We
would be
don't-
to cover this.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on the
There
bill.
won't be a separate resolution. It would be the public hearing, and once the public hearing authorizes it, since this is attached as the purpose of the
Okay.
funds, they would go to pay the invoice.
All right.
Any other questions? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Excuse me, Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Leon, Councilman Wells.
No.
Public hearing will be scheduled for Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, at 5:30 PM.
Resolution number 1.
A resolution to approve the Jackmel Inn located at 903 East Morris Avenue, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, to obtain a permit to sell on-premise high-low alcohol. The owner is Casiana Flores Raboldo. Sorry. I'm sorry, Casey.
Good afternoon. We come before y'all to seek approval for a high-low permit for Jacmel. Basically, all this is it's a new owner. It's been a change of ownership. They've done everything we've asked for, all the applications, the inspections, and turn the permit in, and everything checked out. So we're just coming because it's a new ownership.
And the owners are here?
I reached out to them. They didn't.
Oh,
They're here.
Okay, tell them they can come forward, please.
Will y'all be keeping it as Jacmel Inn? I was curious when I saw new owners because it's such a Hammond institution, but I'm sure you know that, so that's wonderful.
Thank you all. Welcome to Hammond. More than welcome.
Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
See, they want y'all to have it.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Resolution number 2.
A resolution to approve Lit Pizza located at 1735 Southwest Railroad Avenue, Suite A, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403, to obtain a permit to sell on premises high-low alcohol. The owner is BR Guest Number 9 LLC. Casey?
Yeah, again, we come before y'all. This is a new business that's come in. It's a new restaurant. It's Lit Pizza. They've applied for a high-low alcohol permit. Again, filed all paperwork, filed inspections, did everything we need to. And we have Mr. Kyle Kennedy in the audience, who is, I was told, the area manager for them, if y'all have any questions.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Good, good.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Any questions or comments from anyone on the council?
I had the opportunity to eat at your restaurant, and it was very good. It was very busy, so congrats on a great opening.
Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Resolution number 3.
A resolution to approve Baguette LLC located at 285 South Morrison Boulevard, Hammond, Louisiana, 70401, to obtain a permit to sell packaged high-low alcohol. The owner is Baguette LLC.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm before y'all with asking for approval to sell packaged alcohol. This used to be the Stop and Shop, and it's just been a change of ownership to Begot. And I have Mr. Satosh Kantra in the audience, who is the new owner, manager for the business.
This is the one next to Popeyes?
Yes.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Any questions or comments from anyone on the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Congratulations. Resolution number 4.
A resolution to authorize the purchase of BEMA storage replacement from CMA Technology Solutions in the amount of $52,757. Marcus McMillan.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Come before you this evening asking one slight correction. It's not VEMA, it's actually VEEM storage replacement. We currently have VEEM storage replacement, but with all the modifications we're making with our infrastructure, we want to increase that storage to be able to have at least a week-long backup of our infrastructure. We make nightly backups, and currently right now that week-long has been cut to days, and we want to extend that out. In order to extend that out, we have to increase that space, and it's going to cost us roughly $52,757. I'm asking for your approval to move forward with that project.
So it's supposed to be VEEM instead of VEMA?
Yes.
Gotcha. Was this anticipated? Was this like within our budget, something that we knew was going to happen?
Nah, it wasn't anticipated. It would actually, when we did our upgrades for all our scheduled projects for this year, we started doing our upgrades, and most of our vendors are requiring more infrastructure to be in place, and we're backing up each piece of infrastructure instead of just picking and choosing what we're going to back up. So being that we're backing up everything, is needing more space to actually back those things up. And right now, we're currently making backups, but I'm not at a comfort zone with that because we're only getting a couple of days, maybe 3 days max, and I would like to get at least a week, if more.
So this is
This will give me roughly 3 weeks
3 weeks. Okay.
or more. It just depends on the size of how much data we're putting in and things like that. But roughly right now with the calculations, this will give me roughly 3 to 4 weeks.
Anyone from the public? Could you speak clearly into the microphone, please, and give us your name and address?
Yes, Sal Nicolosi, 3607 Highway 190 West, Hammond, Louisiana. I'm just got a question here on this company that we purchased and I was trying to purchase the equipment from. Was it a bid deal or was it just, how was it handled?
The company that we deal with is CMA Technologies. We have pretty much all our equipment comes through CMA. We have contracts with them for support and all of these things. So the bid wasn't done because the previous application and the previous software that we got from them, all of this came from them. And they're a third party for the application, but as I stated before, they're like a vendor that we use for our support and different things like that. So when we go to order different applications, we contact Veeam and they kind of put the feelers out for the different prices for all of the different things, and they come back to us with it. But no, it was not a bid out.
Well, I assume that we were supposed to put bids out for any equipment or materials that the city is requiring. Is that correct or not? Is it supposed to be a bid or not?
Andre?
if we're using a company that has a certain software, normally we probably would put bids out, but if we're using the software that this company provides, obviously we would need to stay with them. Marcus, you want to comment on that?
So in other words, you had purchased, Marcus, you had purchased.
So Veeam is not a sole source application, but Veeam is the application that we built our whole platform off of. So in order to change and go to something else, it would cost us more. Veeam is the only application that we've used throughout the city since I've been here. I've been here 6 years. That's the application we've been using. As far as the company that we use, which is CMA Technologies, we have contracts through them through all of the applications that we purchase. When we pay our annual licenses and things like that, they are like a vendor to all of these different companies. Veeam doesn't, we don't buy directly from Veeam. We buy through a different, like, how do I say it? Chevrolet. You wouldn't buy directly from Chevrolet. You'll go to Ross Downing or someone like that to buy that Chevrolet vehicle because that's what they sell. But CMA has been our company for Veeam applications for, well, the Veeam application for 6 years since I've been here, but it was here before I got here. So it's been here for a while. So, and only reason we haven't looked at anything other than Veeam is because Veeam has been that platform. We would have to change everything so that 52,000 would actually change and probably increase because we would have to go to a different environment.
I understand. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from anyone in the public? Any questions or comments from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? I'm sorry. Yeah, Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Marcus.
Marcus.
Resolution number 5.
A resolution to approve the mayor to enter into a contract with Roofing Solutions for $28,950 to remove and replace the existing shingle roof at the mayor's office, RFP 23-23, Jana Swallow.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We're finally able to move forward with the insurance process. We got the money back, so we're moving forward with replacement. I did quote out all the roofs. These are the only 2 roofs that came in over $25,000, so we are bringing before council, asking for approval. Just for a little clarification, the reason that you see 2 different RFPs, when the insurance adjuster and the person that the old building official had came around and they looked at the buildings, they deemed this one council chambers, mayor's office, and city hall. So when the contractor wrote the specifications, that's how he wrote them. So I just went ahead and I bidded them out the way that the specifications were sent in to me. So that's why you see them split up. But anyways, we did receive several proposals. Roofing Solutions was the lowest, so we're asking for permission to proceed with contract.
Okay. Any questions from anyone in the public? Any questions or comments from anyone on the council?
Yeah, John, how many bids had came back in?
6.
6?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right, pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Resolution number 6.
A resolution to approve the mayor to enter into a contract with Roofing Solutions for $35,450 to remove and replace the existing shingle roof at City Hall, RFP 2325, Janice Swallow.
This is the same situation. This was bidded out at the same time. Roofing Solutions came in as the lowest proposal, so we're asking for approval to proceed with contract.
I did actually have a question. This was insurance claims, so we received insurance money to pay for these?
Correct.
It covers the whole amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we'll actually have another one. We just closed it Friday after the deadline for council, so next council meeting we'll have the 190 maintenance facility come in before y'all.
Anyone from the public? I'm sorry.
I was just saying thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
And Councilman Wells.
Aye.
Thank you, Jana.
Jana.
Resolution number 7.
A resolution to purchase a full cantilever hip shed for Murray Park Pool, $35,110. RFP 2319, Desiree Doty.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, so we're here today to seek your approval for a shade structure for Murray Park. I know in the past, we've been kind of looking into this. One of our biggest complaints is there's no straight shade structure at that pool. And so this is one of our lowest bids that we've had come in probably past year. So we're looking for your approval for that.
This is a fabric shade?
Yes.
Fabric?
Yes.
Is it retractable or no?
No.
Okay.
So once it's up, it's up.
Does this price include
Yes,
installation?
it does. And I make sure I got it right in writing as well.
Very good.
It covers all the bleachers, or?
All the bleachers.
Desiree, how long you been working on this?
Oh, yeah. I would say about 3 years.
About 3 years. And you know, it's amazing, and I want to thank you, too, for your patience. You know, it's been 3 years, and we go back. They tried to get $50,000, and I voted no on it. And I want to thank you for your patience and reaching out to find a company. Here it is 3 years later, and everybody complain about everything that went up. But somehow this done went down. Thank you.
I also want to thank Jana as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, she be working really.
She works hard. She does a great job.
No, but thank you for everything. Now that I got you up here, I'm letting you go about the shade. Mooney Park, we have issues. We got a bathroom smell like sewer. And it's been smelling like sewer for the longest. We met the other day. How we coming along with that?
Yes, Guy, actually, he went there to check it out, and he said as of right now, he's working on it, and I told him to make sure he gets with you and let you know exactly everything that's going on with it.
Okay.
I'll make sure that, he reaches out to you first thing in the morning.
Okay, and thank you for the light also. Another thing too, I went to the bathroom at DDD. Don't smell like sewer. That bathroom was built out the mines. So, and people always say I complain about this, I complain about that. No, what I complain about, I want the same service in District 3 as every other district get. That's all I'm asking for. So when I see I'm not receiving the same service, of course, you can call it what you want, but I call it love for a community. That's all I see. And I'm going to continue to have that love for the community as long as I'm up here. Another thing, what about the water fountain?
Yes, Marcus is waiting on a part. Marcus actually works at Water Department, and he's waiting on a part to come in, which has been on back order. And once that comes in, he said he's definitely going to install it and work on it.
Okay, now the whole summer is over with. And see, this is what the people don't realize. We got a new fountain in Mooney Park. The whole summer over with, and we still waiting on a part. And Desiree and I talked, and we had a good talk. She didn't fight, she didn't get ugly. I didn't fight, I didn't get ugly. And I suggest, since we're dealing with a new fountain, why not send it back and get another one? Why are we waiting on a part for a new fountain? So, see, these are things that I deal with when it comes to District 3 and when it comes to the area. So, I want to thank you once again.
And we can look into that as well. We can check the warranty and make sure that, we did place a warranty on it. And if we did, we definitely can send it back.
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah, well, we're still under warranty. I definitely know that. All right, then. Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Resolution number 8.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a work authorization for professional services with Michael Baker International for runway 18-36, rehabilitation design at the Hammond North Shore Regional Airport. David LeBeau.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is very straightforward. Came to you a couple of months ago to get approval for the mayor to execute receipt of a grant from the FAA for this project. This is going to remove all of the remaining World War II concrete from that old runway. You've heard me say that before. This is the design part of it. Next year will be the construction phase, or at least the first phase of the construction phase, depending on how much it ends up costing. But the grant paperwork was received last week. The mayor and the city attorney executed that grant paperwork, so now we can execute the contract with the engineer to perform that work for us. They'll get started as soon as we approve this.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Excuse me. Any questions or comments from anyone on the council?
Yeah, Mr. David, how you doing? How much was that grant?
Say again, sir? I'm sorry.
How much was the grant?
The grant is for a total of $265,000. So what the FAA did in this case was build some extra money into that grant. They're not completely sure what the outcome of this design project is going to be. There's three different possibilities. One would be a grooving or shot blasting choice. That would be the cheapest. The most expensive would be a full demo and put down new concrete. The middle option would most likely be a tearing up of that concrete, use it as the underlayment or the foundation material, and then put an asphalt overlay over that. It also involves some work in what we call the runway safety area, which is the area that drains the runway adjacent to the runway on the sides and on the ends. So depending on which one of those options the engineer recommends, the FAA and us and the state will ask the engineer to explore that a little bit more, and depending on which one it is, will determine how much additional money up to that $265 that it costs. But we can, obviously, I can come back to you if this needs to increase within the next 12 months.
So this is not going to cost the city no money, right?
Absolutely none. There's a 10% grant match to this, and that accounts for a little bit of what you see. You see 199,000 here. There's another 10% that's going to come from the state, and then there's that extra 25 or 30,000 that's built into it as well.
Okay. And the reason I asked this is because I want to make sure it ain't costing the city no money. And I want to ask you another question while I got you up here, because I don't hardly see you, so I have to ask you when I see you. Now, you came up here before. I'm going to say about 3 years ago, and you was talking about how short the runway done got because of the trees and all of that. You remember that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, them trees still growing.
They are.
So is the runway getting shorter? Is it still dangerous? Because I remember you was talking, you had me so scared. And so I don't want to keep being scared, but you ain't talking about it no more.
So the situation still exists, and the reason that we purchased that property, that's what I came to you for, was to purchase that property across Highway 190. Now we're dealing with the FAA and with the Army Corps of Engineers on the wetlands that exist back there, on how much of that we'll have to mitigate before we can start clearing those trees out. But we've actually got the structures that are on the property up. That's out for bid right now for the demo on those as well.
And how many houses is that, Mr. Dave?
There's 4 total structures. There was a smaller house closer to the front and a shed that went with that, and then there was the larger house and a shed with that one as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because I tell you, you're going right to where I need you to go. I got houses in my community that's been there for 15 years, need to be towed down. And I said, it's amazing how the airport just purchased this land 3 years ago, and here you telling me that the bids done went out to get these houses towed down, But yet it's like, I'm gonna say it again, when it come to District 3, it's like we're always on the back burner when it's time to get something done. I know you don't have nothing to do with that. You just taking care of the airport, but I wish I could get that same, what I wanna say. I wanna get that same spunk, that same energy when it go into District 3 getting something done.
Councilman, I can't speak for.
I know.
No, but look, I can't speak for those other properties. What I can tell you about the airport is I get free money to do this. I get money from the feds and from the state to tear these structures down. So this doesn't cost the city anything.
Yeah, but
That's probably a big difference.
yeah, but not all free money. When we first got up here, we was giving you money like crazy. So that money come from the taxpayer. So you didn't get all free money now.
Purchase the property.
Yeah, so that come from the taxpayer. So say that. So when we saying something, let's say it all, because see what you said? That'll go on record that
Right.
it don't cost the city no money.
So on the record,
Yes.
specifically talking about tearing down structures, it is 100% paid for at the airport.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I want to ask you something. You mentioned wetlands. I brought that up when we were purchasing the property. So the wetland mitigation, is that being taken care of by the federal government?
We're waiting to hear back from the Army Corps of Engineers on the final decision on that, trying to shrink that down.
How much was that coming back at?
We don't have a dollar amount yet. We're still waiting to hear about
Okay.
that. So,
Thank you, Mr. Dave.
Any other questions from anyone in the public?
Clarification. This is a resolution for professional search for design, not construction. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is not for the cost of the project. This is just for the design.
correct. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Anyone else from the council? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Resolution number 9.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Kushner LaGraz LLC for auditing services for FY 2022 and FY 2023. Laura Hammond.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
So we're asking for the RFP for the audit, RFP 23-33 auditing services. We sent to 10 companies off of the legislative auditor's approved list. Of those, we had 2 responses. One was from Christian LaGrave, and the other was from Malden and Jenkins based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We're recommending Kushner and LaGrave for council approval tonight.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Any questions or comments from anyone from the council?
Yeah. Miss Laura, how you doing?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. You say you sent out 10?
Yes, sir. And it was also listed on the city website.
The 10 that you sent out.
Yes, sir.
And only 2 came back.
Yes, sir.
And this company, how long we been dealing with this company?
11 years. And this contract is for 2 years with 2 one-year possible term extensions.
So how many mistakes did they find, or how many incomplete things did they found last year?
What do you mean?
For as auditing, did they find anything wrong,
No, last year was a clean audit.
and the year before that?
It was a clean audit, if I remember correctly.
We did make the one note about training.
Yes.
They didn't have any sort of major findings. They presented that to the council, and that was posted up on the website as well. The full audit is also always available on the legislative auditor site, and it's also on our city website under the accounting department.
Is there any regulations on how many years you can use the same auditing company, or you can just keep them as long as you want? Any regulations on that, or?
Not specifically, no. As long as the independence is met. I mean, I think that's the main thing for auditors, is that independence factor.
Any other questions from anyone in the public?
It's just a minor question, but 3607 Highway 190, South Nicolosi. Is this company local here in Louisiana, or?
Yes, sir. This company is based out of
Metairie.
Metairie. And the other company that responded to the RFP was based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, sir.
So it's a Louisiana company?
Yes, sir. And they're very familiar with Louisiana legislative auditors, and which is required of them as well.
Has the city of Hammond used them in the past?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the council knows that?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments from anyone on the council? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Abstain.
Resolution number 10.
A resolution for the approval of solid waste service contract with Waste Pro of Louisiana, Inc. Andre Coudray.
Council, you're asked to approve a contract based on bids received for garbage collection services. The RFP went out. The RFP sets the general terms of the contract. The proposals that were received will set the terms of the price for the services that were received, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the contract itself. The RFP, again, sets forth the terms. They're substantially similar to what the city has had previously and under the previous proposed contract with Waste Pro. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the contract itself.
So we still at a stand where we wouldn't know the breakdown per amount. It'd be per citizen who would have to pick up the pay.
You were provided a summary of the proposals that were received from the various contractors. And all that was provided, I think, on a hyperlink to council members.
I think Councilman Andrews is asking about the increase, is that
Right.
right? Yeah, no, that's not in here.
Okay.
That wouldn't be part of this resolution.
The increase is just to accept the contract with Waste Pro at their amount, $20.48 per unit.
So originally, I think Amwaste wanted an extra $2, around $16 and some change, and that was terminated, that agreement. Then we went, what was proposed last meeting, $18 some change from the company listed here, Solid Waste. Now it's $20.50, I think.
$20.48.
48
The
cents.
last proposal was not based on an RFP. That was just a negotiated agreement with the company. But the council chose to put that out for bids to see what the landscape was for proposals, and this was the proposals that were received.
I mean, we didn't really have a choice at that point, because, I mean, we could have went with it, or, we were told, that it was terminated last minute, and so now we have, option here to go up on garbage pricing by about $6, $5 minimum, unless, now what goes on with the little slush fund of $2 extra that was being charged the whole time? Where does that money go?
So that was those were fees that were actually approved by the council when you adopted the initial rate.
Yeah,
That was $1.50 that was going towards the city to both handle all of the recycling costs that are happening out at 190, to pay for the city staff that's out there, and then to pay for additional pickups that the city makes, either collecting around dumpsters, as you're familiar with over in the Rue St. Martin area, or collecting other pickups that for whatever reason are out there and the trash contractor is not performing.
See, I'm sorry, you finished? Sam, you finished?
yeah, right now, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how It's a mess right now. That's what we're dealing with. And when you don't discuss things, and I'm gonna say it, when the mayor take things on himself and don't discuss it with the city council, now here the people done jump from 2 weeks, $2 extra, am I right? Because I didn't figure nothing down, I didn't write nothing down.
It's more than what the contract was previous, yeah.
Yeah, so how much more? Could you give me a price or a figure?
A couple of dollars, I believe. I don't,
$1, $2? I'm saying I want to know, that's why I'm asking. I don't have nothing wrote down.
I think we're currently at 12, and they proposed 18 last meeting, and now the request for proposal is at 20.48. So you're looking at an extra $8, is that right?
Oh, so, okay, so we're looking at an extra $8 that we're expecting the citizens to eat. You know, and I'm saying this here, when you do things, we have to do things the right way. Because in District 3, we're not prepared to eat another $6, another $5, another $8. We're not prepared. The light company already killing us with their bill. So, even from the gas prices. So, the food price. I'm saying this to say, when you don't sit down and communicate, and the reason I'm looking at you, Andre, because you told me about, you did the contract. And so I'm looking at you, but I should be looking at the mayor, because the mayor sat here and did all this here without talking to the city councilman. And now, look what we're ready to throw out on the citizens, a extra bill that we shouldn't even have. Yeah, everybody done went up, but in the meantime, it's a way that you do things, you know. And I think the only person the mayor actually talked to was Steve. I think Steve said he the only one said they talked. Nobody else didn't say they talked to him. And he talked behind Sam back when he was at the council meeting. So look what we're going through now. This is a real mess. Now we still got to talk about this here. There's something that should have been solved, and the other company was going up how much from the last 2 weeks?
They're going from to $16 and change. That was the original company and waste. That's what they're asking for. And then that wasn't a conversation that I was aware of or not or anything about that. And then so the other company went to 18 and some change that was recommended last meeting. So
now 2 weeks later, here it is, what, they done went up an extra, what, I'm gonna say $2. $2. And I'm saying this here, I don't know. Mr. Mayor, you might have plenty of money, but everybody in the Hammond don't have plenty of money. So it don't affect you if it go up a quarter, but it affects me and it affects my community when it go up a quarter. So it affects us. So I'm gonna have to talk about it, that this something now, and even if this be approved of, and I want to make sure I say this on the record, even if this be approved of, this something, since the mayor made a mistake, this something that the city need to eat. The residents shouldn't have to eat the mistake that the mayor made. Not in District 3. We shouldn't have to eat no $4 cost or no $8 cost. It's something that the mayor should eat, or the city of Hammond should eat. So that's what I want to say.
A mistake was probably made last meeting. This has been going on for a year. Plus, this company has not taken upon themselves to do the job appropriately. They have always had excuses. They don't answer the phone at their own business. We take the calls here at the City of Hammond for that business when they're not doing their job properly. Bob Zabby and I have been looking into doing something about this for approximately a year. We've visited other organizations that do trash. One in particular was in New Orleans that we didn't go with, but they had monitors and individuals in front of the monitors that did not leave those stations until the trash trucks came in off of their routes. They had cameras, 2 cameras in the cabs. They had cameras all around the truck. So if there was a call that came in, they could literally answer the call right there, go to the monitor, track the truck, go back, video it, and send on an email a zip drive to the customer saying what happened, and if they did something wrong, they'd run back out there and take care of it. We had something on the table with Waste Pro because we were able to deal. We didn't have to do an RFP because we were in a situation where we needed to do something because this company came to us and said, we want to charge you $4 more. They weren't doing their job. It wasn't appropriate to even negotiate with this company. So we found a company, Waste Pro, and if you would, please step up, sir, and tell us about your company and what you're providing. We're talking about a company that's going to provide all new equipment, and I'll let you take it from there. But we had something on the table last meeting. It was cheaper, but when we put the RFP out, the bids came in at a different price, and here we are. But this is something that needs to happen. No one wants increases, but it's something that we need to address and we need to deal with.
So let me just add, we have 387 documented complaints since January 1st, 2020 for the current contractor. And that's not just 387 individual trash cans missed, that's sometimes entire blocks or entire subdivisions, or like the entire downtown on a Friday night going into the weekend. Of those, 138 of them have been in 2022 alone.
I think it's important to reiterate too that, Amways is the one that came to the city saying that they wanted more money even though they had this kind of service. They had terrible service, and then they said, well, we want even more, we want more money to provide you with this terrible service. I mean, I think that's an important part of this.
Well, we had a contract with them. That's one thing. They asked for more money, but we had a contract of $12. That didn't mean we had to give them more money. They were asking for more money. And therefore, you don't have to grant them what they're asking for. But at the end of the day, I had no knowledge of anything about what they're asking or whatnot, or no discussion about anything. And then to go up that much money without even any kind of thought process of what does the district feel? What do the residents in your district feel? It's a big decision to be made, and you have a contract, so you either hold them to the contract that they have discussions, and honor what you did, and if not, that's fine. But there was no terminating option out. They were asking for more money to help compensate, which was still less than any other competitor. So therefore, with that being said, why wouldn't you have a discussion or a meeting about it and see where everything's at? Because in my district, the calls went down. They were bad. And how do you know all the other companies weren't? I mean, I've talked to other city municipalities. Some other companies, they all were having trouble during that period of time with the virus and breakdowns of different machinery and parts and everything. So not everything, just because it's more doesn't mean it's better. And doesn't mean, that you can't work with the one you're with. If the price was way more than everybody else, absolutely. You got to look at things and see where you're at, but it's called negotiating. And that's what should have came first. And you should have thought about, what is this going to do for the bills of the people and the garbage?
We did negotiate.
Excuse me, I'm going to speak for my constituents.
Good.
We have had.
Speak in the mic, please. Speak in the mic. Because
We've had umpteen conversations with this company. Now, maybe your district's different, because I know they did get some of the city. But my district, I continue to get calls, up even through Labor Day weekend, through 4th of July. That was well after all of the viruses and storm and everything else, and we still continue to have poor service. We've had Amways up here, I don't know how many times, and you know that we've talked to and said, hey, you got to step it up, and it just never happened. So, from my perspective and from my constituents' perspective, and the calls that I continue to get, I just don't see where they were going to get it.
So did you go with your constituents and ask them, would you rather stay with the same company, or would you rather pay an extra $8 to go try another company out and hope they're better? And hope they're better.
How can you hope they're better when we had a year that they were not better? They kept trying to get better, but they were not better. I'm
talking about, did you go to your constituents and ask them, hey, would you rather pay an extra? Can I finish? I'm asking you a question. Okay. Would you rather pay $8 more, $6, $7 more a month and try out another company and hope that other company you're hiring that you're paying more money for, is better? And if they said, absolutely, well, that's fine. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. So good. But if they said, I don't know, I don't know about all that. So that's what I'm saying. Those are the questions that when you're representing the people of your district, you need to look at it a little bit more, because it's not my pocket or your pocket. Yeah. You, Steve, that's your money if you want to hire another.
I want to tell you that my residents are fed up with Amways.
And when you come
can go
down
up
to
and down the
it,
street.
and you think about it, you were elected to make the decisions. You do. You talk to your constituents. Majority of them are not happy with the service. So you need to stand up here, and you need to realize that the company is not doing what they're supposed to do. Charging more money is not going to make them better. And to bring in another company is what was going to happen anyway. So you need to make a decision and go with it. That's what you were elected for.
Oh, we are. And
Yeah,
that's
leave
what
it.
you were elected for, people, not to be a dictatorship.
We're not.
So, and that
We
would be,
negotiated
that would be
for
a conversation
months.
you would have with your council. That's how it's, not just slap it on the desk the night before. So that's how it would be. That's how you do business. Communicate with your council and everything else, and that's how you communicate and you make decisions. You don't just all of a sudden make a decision, terminate an agreement with no one knowing, and then have nothing in place. That's terrible management, to have nothing in place and have to, and your comment was, oh, we'll just go ahead and pay emergency pay. Yeah, emergency pay to do it. The AM Waste is covering the contract. You don't cancel a contract without having something in
They
place.
canceled the contract.
They did not.
Yes.
They opted out.
They opted out. They didn't want to do it.
They asked for more money, and you terminated it.
I gave
After
them,
that.
we gave them.
With no other contract in place, with no other garbage in place.
We had a man ready to come in and help us.
Emergency
he's-
pay, emergency pay. If AM
If
Waste would have
needed,
pulled out.
that's what you call.
Yeah, and how much would that have cost us?
$275 an hour.
Exactly.
That's how much
That's poor management, and that is not making
Bottom
good
line is,
decisions.
if you would talk to the administration between 2 weeks and ask us to help you with any problems you have, it always comes down to this meeting, and you're looking for answers when you didn't even talk to us during the last 2 weeks prior to. So communication between you and this administration is a joke.
You brought a contract to us and the information the day of the meeting. So that's not good business or good communication.
Okay. Just one second. You ready to introduce yourself, sir?
Jesse Murphy, 550 Windward Drive, Covington, Louisiana. I'm with Waste Pro of Louisiana. I'm the tell a little bit about myself and the company, and you can answer any questions. Been in the industry 30 years. Started when I was 15 years old in a mechanic shop and on the back of a truck. And I'm born and raised South Louisiana. Been, like I said, in the industry 30 years. I've then owned my own waste company. And now I'm one of the vice presidents of Waste Pro. My regional office is in Kenner, and we have office in Baton Rouge, Houma, Covington, Geismar, and we're about to open up another in New Orleans. We also have 3 landfills here in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Sorrento, and Belchase. And I'm also a shareholder in the company. So that's a little background on us. Tell a little bit about what we do as far as with our business. After we had everybody in the waste industry, we had some challenges. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, made some adjustments. I said I've been doing this a long time, and all we have to offer is a service. So if I can't offer the service, then what am I doing up here? So we gave our drivers some considerable raises and put all of our drivers on a 4-day work week to have some really great work-life balance. So every driver I have in Louisiana, we're typically anywhere from $2 to as much as $6 or $8 higher, depending on the line of business, the truck that they drive, than our competitors. But they're also on a 4-day work week. I don't have any drivers here that's scheduled. I mean, of course, that's scheduled more than 4 days unless we have things that we're doing emergency contracts or after the storm when drivers are displaced. But that's one of the things that we bring with how we operate. After Ida, we had trucks on the street that Tuesday. We had every one of our routes covered in full by Thursday. And reason being, because we're running a 4-day work week, we have the extra drivers on our payroll that even though we don't have everybody back, they may work 5 or 6 days till we do get everybody back, but we're able to recover that way. Also, just to let you know, when you like with the RFP and then even at my, the prices, that's with us bringing in all brand new equipment. That's new trucks, that's new carts. So compared to some of the pricing With the previous company you have, it's not comparing apples to apples. It's really not. I mean, that's what us bringing in all new equipment, along with paying higher pay rates and employing more drivers than normal.
And this wasn't directed towards you. My comments aren't directed towards you or your company. I knew nothing about your company until it was brought to us last minute. My frustration is more on the management and the process that happened to get to this point by the administration on this. It should have been a little more discussed with the council, or at least me. I don't know, all the other ones may have got discussed, but me, and figure out so I can discuss with some of my, people that live in the district, and go over the costs that might change and what y'all have to offer. Didn't know anything about y'all until we saw it. So therefore, it's not directed towards you. It's directed towards money to the people and how much it's going to cost, and is it worth changing? Not a lot of different. It's a lot of different process and a lot of thought that goes into making decisions that affect everybody in the city of Hammond. So none against y'all or any of y'all's company, or I'm not talking up for Am Waste. It's just the process how it was handled whenever it was. The other contract we currently had was much cheaper, and that's it. So, thank you.
So, I ask you a question, sir.
Yes.
As far as the contract, are you aware of the contract?
Yes.
Okay. So, 2 weeks ago, y'all was $2 cheaper.
We're about $1.80 cheaper, yes, sir.
2 weeks ago, right? $1.80 cheaper. What made y'all go up?
We actually responded to the RFP, I think it was like 3 years ago. So when we was negotiating before an RFP just went out, we were going off of the last RFP, the house, and in that last RFP, it stated 9,300 homes. Well, this RFP that came out at 8,600. So once we had an RFP in front of us and I had to break my cost out amongst less homes, that caused my rate to go up. That's the reason, sir.
All right, then. I understand that. Now, look, I just read, and I'm quite sure you read it also, or you done saw it yourself. In New Orleans, a garbage contractor had a low bid. He won the bid. But in the meantime, no other contractors could understand how he won this bid at that rate. And I didn't know this here, and I'm quite sure you're aware of it. You can win the bid at a low rate. And once you get the bid, then you can go up to the rate that you want. I'm saying, I just read, I ain't say you now. I just read this in New Orleans. And I don't know if you know anything about it, but I'm quite sure you got some knowledge about this. Yeah. And so what I'm scared of, I'm going to give you a chance. What I'm scared of, and this was taking place, that we get these low bids, and once you win the bid, then the city councilman nowhere around now. It's between you, the mayor, or whoever. Now you end up going up on the rate, on the bid. And I didn't know this take place. I'm saying I just was aware of this here.
So that did just recently happen, and we actually were, and we're not that, if you read, we're not that company, but we were actually awarded a section of New Orleans, the new contract. My rate did not change. The same rate that I proposed, that they have actually chose me to be the provider for, it's still the same. So I'm not the company that went back to try to ask for more money. So again, I don't know your, I guess you'd say your like how they'd go about that if that did happen, if the council would have to approve. Again, I don't know that, but I do know this. We service Assumption Parish, we service the city of Gonzales, we service Subscription in Tangipahoa, St. Tammany, Ascension, Livingston. We just started Denham Springs. We service East Feliciana Parish, and you can call any of those, and I have not done that. What I negotiate with from the beginning, And what we agree on is my price, and the only thing that you're gonna see an increase from is the CPIs, and the annual CPIs, which is just, standard. So, I mean, I can't speak on what New Orleans did, but I know the price that I gave is the price, like, I have not asked them to adjust my section.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Well, so I see you read that too then, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm aware of it.
Okay then, yeah, and let me tell you why I say that. A lot of these bids, and I'm learning, a lot of these bids take place, and the contractor awarded the bid. And now I'm gonna say this here, now I'm not saying you now, the backdoor deals go on, the city council is not aware of it. And I'm just don't want a backdoor deal to take place, and now we got to present it to the taxpayer. That's my only concern.
No, I understand it, and like I said, it's, me, I have not done any of that with my current contracts, and we've had some since I've been here at Waste Pro for 7 years. So we've had some from when I've walked in the door, and I've not done anything, such as what you just mentioned, and you're welcome to call any of them. So I can't say that that doesn't happen, but that is, we have not done or asked for the additional money before we start a contract.
All right, thank you, sir. That's it for me.
Anybody else? Council, any other questions?
Well, whenever we had this coming up, I had asked that we have an introduction of an ordinance to have the next discussion for increasing the rate. So I think that, and that was part of the reason why I think we did a request for proposal, is we needed to be able to justify a rate increase. Even though the price you guys had negotiated was cheaper, we still need to be able to tell our constituents why it has gone up. And, this request for proposal shows people that, obviously, that yours is the lowest. And I would like for us to know what, be able to tell people what they're increasing their rates with. As to that, part of the excess cushion that we put on our rates, I know this is not regarding Waste Pro, but the cushion that we put on our monthly rates has to do with recycling and our fee and everything. So as to recycling, is Ponchatoula going to do it? Can we group with them? Can we lower to once a month, kind of do some cost savings? Where's that conversation fall?
So they have their own drop-off location within the city limits of Ponchatoula, and we have ours at the 190 maintenance facility next to the Piggly Wiggly. So I don't know if you're suggesting to combine those two sites into one site location.
Sounds not feasible.
I don't know how well that would go with the constituents. The second thing, we could choose to not do that. We could choose to lower the costs and maybe change the hours or something along those lines. There's some different options. You'll also see on your description of the RFP, we did get pricing for both the recycling roll-off dumpster and then emptying costs, if we estimated 4 times a month. I think on average, we do like really just 1 or 2 times a month. So we can, maybe talk through some of those. Maybe that's a second thing that you want to sign separately. This main contract is focused on the garbage collection rather than necessarily signing with recycling at this point. And I think as to the idea of any kind of backroom deals, that's why in our purchasing department, they're very specific about the process that they use. They have closed, sealed bids that they literally open the envelope while they're there, and there were 9 different people present at this one. So hats off again to our purchasing department and the procedures that they use to ensure fairness and to ensure competitive bids.
Thank you. Mr. Samuels, you had a question?
Yes. My name is Elizabeth Lafargue. My address is 601 Rue Cons. I'm here tonight because I've had problems with my garbage service. And I've had to call the city, and I've had to call AmWaste. But now, because my councilman has blocked me from his councilman page, I'm not even aware of a change in the garbage schedule to a Facebook post in my community.
Ma'am, they're not gonna tell you, but if you have anything, you need to talk to the president. You don't supposed to talk directly to a council.
Oh, I looked at
They're not gonna tell you that, but that's what you're supposed to do.
Understood.
Thank you.
So I am here because I can't get information from my councilman. So with this new company, I'd like to understand how communications are going to be made to the constituents, because even though my councilman seems very concerned about communications and talking with his constituents, he doesn't mind blocking them. And who knows how many others he has blocked. And I would just like to understand how the city's going to handle that communication, because I can't trust my councilman to do it.
I wanted to ask, if you don't go with new equipment, what's the price difference on the contract and with the equipment? Yeah, you can come back to the podium. Yeah.
The challenge is that you really can't get used equipment.
Well, I mean, with the equipment that y'all have now, I guess y'all have equipment now,
Well,
and y'all upgrading to.
No, we have equipment, and we pre-order, a couple hundred trucks every year, Waste Pro as a whole, and then it kind of goes to new contracts. But right now, no one has just excess used equipment, unless you've lost a contract recently for something. It's really not an option at this point, because I don't have any of the excess equipment. And, we're with growth. I'm bringing in the new equipment, but, and in a case, once an equipment gets, I do put in to replace equipment after certain years. But I don't have any right now that we're doing. We just don't have the access to the used equipment.
So y'all have any men on back of the truck, or you just got the one driver?
No, we're gonna have helpers on the trucks. Yeah, and that was another thing, I didn't mention that earlier, but my price previously was with the ASLs, the automatic trucks, and then we're gonna run like a chase, what they call a chase truck. And I switched up on that and decided to run with the helpers to make sure that we're taking everything.
Yeah, because I saw the one on,
the amount that's in the contract for the state, yes.
Yeah, I saw the one armed service in St. Tammany Parish. So I did see that, and I know how that worked.
Yes, sir.
And I was worried about the guys on back of the truck.
Yeah, so then that was another reason why, because I'd switched on that since the negotiated price to this, besides the house count. So.
Yeah, so that really helped you out, didn't I?
Yeah, just as to communication, I guess to speak to her point as well, how do we find out about closures? I know previously under AmWaste, we've had some trouble when we want to report, and you have to press a certain number for to report. So first of all, reporting to you guys when they miss, not having to go through the city or the council members, and how do you let us know closures and things like that?
Yeah, so it's all community, and this is Jolene Johnson.
I was there last time,
Yep.
Jolene. What specifically are you talking about? As far as communication, if there's going to be something missed or to put it out, when we only take 3 holidays, and that's Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. This year, it wouldn't be Christmas and New Year's because those are on the weekend, so the only holiday this year is Thanksgiving.
So y'all wouldn't, sorry to interrupt, but y'all wouldn't close for when the landfill closes? Because I know that's been something we've been told.
That was
Yes, if the landfill's closed, we can't run
Right.
everywhere to dump. But as long as if the landfill's open, there's only 3 holidays, we do not run a year.
And as far as communicating as well, we will have a City of Hammond and Ponchatoula as well website on our website. So any of those updates and everything are always updated on our website as well. So everybody will have that. We also have offices and what are we going to do?
Yes.
Yeah, when we start the contract, we'll send out postcards to every address on the list, giving them the general information about it, giving them our phone numbers, and you know, what we're going to be picking up, when to start using their new can, just the normal startup information about and how they can call us, how they can contact us, what the website is. All that stuff will be listed on the postcard that we mail to each address.
So what's your backup plan? So say a truck breaks down in the middle of the route. What's your backup plan?
Well, we designed the routes to be able to have that flexibility where the routes aren't too big. So that way we design the routes to where if a truck did have an issue, the other trucks as they finish up can go help on that route. I mean, they're not, you know, we're not designing them to where they work in a full, 12, 14-hour day. I mean, that's not going to do us because these are trucks and they take a beating. They work hard and they go in landfills every day. So we expect them to break, but it's how the plan to recover that from that. And as far as, we answer all the phone calls locally. Each one of our office, we have CSRs set up in the offices that answer the phones. Now, we'll say that it's still local to this area because we're a tight-knit team, but after the phone rings so many times at our Covington office, if those two they happen to be on the phone, then it will roll, somebody in Kenner may pick it up or someone, but it's answered, or someone right here in Baton Rouge, but it's going to be answered here, and then they're going to get it, to the correct person.
Yeah, because I'm glad that was asked, because I'm dealing with an 82-year-old woman, and she gonna expect to use the phone. She ain't sending no email. She don't know how to send no email. She want to be able to pick the phone up and talk to somebody.
Yeah, no, I understand. And also something that, we put in our proposal, which we utilize a software. Now, at first, we'll have some rental trucks. They'll be new till we get our new trucks decaled and in place. But once we have our trucks that will stay here, they're equipped with something called Routeware. Every one of our residential trucks here in Louisiana have that in it. And it's a tablet in the truck, and it lists every address for that route. And the driver has to select as they're servicing the house, he's pushing complete. What that does is if he got to, let's just say when you say it's a route doesn't get finished. So instead of calling 3 different drivers, I need you to go help on such and such route. The dispatcher is actually able to take those stops and push them to that driver's tablet. So they're not just going to do a subdivision and, now they missed 2 streets because that's not their route. If they follow the tablet, they're going to service every one of the addresses on that tablet. If they don't know where that street's at, they hit the GPS button and it takes them to it. So we have that extra software in our trucks.
So I have to ask all these questions now because, see, when people get in a contract, they be real nice. And once they get the contract, you don't hear from them no more. So, ma'am, I know you're aware, we discussed it 2 weeks ago, about the elders and picking the can up off the street versus getting the can from side of the house. Because you really didn't have all that together. You can have it together now on how we're going to do that?
Yes, what we were discussing was that you guys didn't have a list of those addresses where that would need to be, but we were talking about, we do that. It's called backdoor, but even though it's not the back door, but it's backdoor service. The man on the back of the truck would go up and grab it, bring it down to the street, empty it, and then take it back to where he found it. As long as it's, right there at where he can see it. He can't go in the back door.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So when do we need to have that list in place?
Well, I mean, if you've got it, you can give it to us. We can have them call us. As soon as we get it, we can start it.
Okay, then.
Yeah. That can
All right.
happen before the first of the contract.
All right.
As long as we know.
And we talked about this 2 weeks ago too. If a single person doesn't need that giant can, you will pick up a smaller can.
Yeah, because we were worried about whether they would fall into the truck, so that's why we said it, but we're not using those anymore. So we're not using the ASL. So we're using the rear load. So if they've got their own smaller can, like one that can go in the back, yes, we can pick that up.
And we also, for those residents, if they wanted to request a smaller can, we have some smaller ones. Like for
Great.
Assumption Parish, we had some elderly that was, they couldn't push the 96-gallon cart, so I want to say it might have been a 65-gallon that we brought those residents. So if there's residents that would rather something smaller, you know, 1 or 2 people there, don't really, especially with twice a week service, 96-gallon cart is a lot of service for twice a week. But, I mean, it's
You're
a
going to find
standard-
it's used.
Yeah, no, I mean, and some you do, but I'm just saying, like, if you have, an you know, elderly couple, 65 gallon, especially twice a week, would probably suffice if that's easier for them to push. They just request it, and we can do that.
So how do y'all do the debris as far as like trimming trees and brush?
Yeah, we're,
Files?
yes, we're, the RFP, and then as well as what we had in the contract was to pick up to a certain amount, right? Yeah, 2 cubic yards, which is just, it's like a pickup truck. The back of a pickup truck is what we have. Now, we come back, if they got more than that, next time we'll pick up another 2 yards. But, you know, that's typically if somebody puts out more than 2 yards of trash, there's somebody's working at their house, and they should get a container anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that's there for, but we have to have some sort of limit on it, otherwise you could, you know.
Tear a whole house
y- y-
down.
Or, yes, and push
Yeah.
it out by the road and, be like, oh, they gotta pick it up. So that's what that's for, but typically you don't run into that. And I will say, I know you, like I said, I mentioned earlier, and I know your concern was that say things and then that, but look, we're here. I've been doing this a long time. I'm not going to sit up here and tell y'all we're not. I mean, this is a very, very short turnaround. I'm committed to making it happen and doing it the best we can. We're going to have some hiccups because we got to get lists. We got to get that. We're putting routes together in 2 weeks. I mean, this is something that we normally have 90 days minimum to do. So, but I assure you something, and every one of you have my number, that when you call me, you're going to get a phone call back, and it's going to get taken care of. But I mean, we're not going to be perfect from day one on a 2-week turnaround. Just wanted to share that. I wouldn't even sit up here and try to tell you that.
You know what? Man, I really appreciate you saying this, sir. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Here we throwing you in this water, and you don't know how deep it is. But I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people don't understand that when you get in a contract and you don't have 90 days to prepare for it, you don't know what you're going to be up against. So, because that's been going on too, and I'm learning that. I'm through with my questions, and I appreciate it. You said I'm going to get your number, so I appreciate you saying that. Now, my question now is for Andre now. How much is this contract gonna cost? How much it gonna cost a year? How much it gonna cost a month? How much it gonna cost for the next 5 years?
Well, I think what's recommended is the $20.48 per unit as the low bid from Waste Pro. There is a consumer price index increase based upon the index now compared to what it might be a year from now. That's capped at 6%. But the CPI is pretty high now. And you know, I don't know. We don't know what the economy is going to be from this year to next year. But there is, Councilman, a chance that if the consumer price index goes up, that this rate goes up in accordance with that. Also, if the tipping fees go up with the parish, there is an opportunity for that to get passed on. That's in all the contracts, was in the previous contract, and will be in this one.
So as of right now, give me a number where I can write down on this here paper. If you tell me this contract is $2 million, I can write down $2 million. If you tell me it's $30,000, I can write that down. So I need, you said you did the contract, right?
Well, the RFP is the contract.
Okay.
So that is what's going to be the terms with the contractor. No, it's actually going to be, that's the total.
That's for
Hammond and
Ponchatoula and Hammond. Yeah.
So it's $176,414 a month, right? Times 12.
It's whatever the multiplier of the number of units by the amount.
Well, that's just from the
Yes.
spreadsheet they gave us. So that would be $2,116,976 a year, without tipping fees, without consumer price increases, and without roll-off dumpster fees.
So I heard Ms. Gonzalez say 2 million. So what do you have, bro?
Well, that's, I mean, the numbers are the numbers.
I'm saying, what numbers you have?
Well, the numbers I have are based upon the
That's
bid
what I
that
used.
came in,
Yeah.
and that's what she used. So you take the 20.48 units by the number of cans, and
Which is
Carly's got the better calculator.
5,714. I mean, I can double check that 176 number if you want me to.
No, just give me the 2 million, give me the total, that's what I need, that's all I'm trying to come
So
up.
all you do is take that chart you have there.
I don't have no chart.
You
That's-
do, it's in your, under
Yeah,
number 10.
I looked through it, I couldn't find it.
It's one that looks like this, it's a
Okay,
grid.
could you give me the number, please? That's why I asked Andre, see, I don't want to have to go back and forth. That's why I asked Andre to give it to me. Now, we're gonna go back through this again.
Well, that number can also fluctuate per month based on how many customers. I mean, it doesn't fluctuate much, but it can go up or down by 20 units. Just being honest. If somebody moves out and they discontinue service, then we're not going to pick up trash at that household, and we're not going to pay for trash to be picked up at that household. But in general, that's an average number that stays.
Well, we got houses tore down right now. Houses been out of commission since Katrina. I mean, since Ida. And some of them, they complaining about water bills right now, and they don't even have a house there. And I told them, you're paying for sewer fees, you're paying for garbage fees, but you need to let the city know that the house is tore down, the house was damaged during the storm. So I know they being charged right now because of the bills that I done saw.
Well, that's correct. If a customer doesn't let us know that they want their water disconnected, then we assume they would like to keep it on. And
Well, yeah, that's what I told them. So this $2 million. Andre, you can always send it to me. You ain't got to say, yeah, give it to me right now.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
it's going to be the lowest bid. They're all bidding on the same unit count. So it's the per unit count that matters in this map. And they have the lowest amount per unit.
Yes. I want to ask a little bit about this, what was referred to as a slush fund, the extra charge to the citizens. Did I understand correctly that the city is paying for dumpsters at the Villa West townhomes that are rental properties? Where does the city have dumpsters in Villa West?
They have it behind Rue St. Martin, actually it's passed along to the actual owners of those properties that agreed to pay more. So they keep the trash off the street on Rue St. Martin and put it in the back, so it's a little cleaner. I don't know if you went back there before in the past and had trash cans and trash all over the place.
I pass by there regularly.
They got
and see
together, it was a
trash
whole
cans.
deal. They got together with the owners,
time.
and they were more than willing to pay extra to get a dumpster in the back. So that's what happened.
So the customers still pay for that through their water bill, the same way that every other customer gets charged for that. That amount just goes towards paying for the dumpster in that location rather than for the individual trash carts.
You got it?
The customer's still paying for it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not the city paying for it. The city has the overall contract for dumpsters, but we charge the customers on their individual bills for that, and then we use that money.
Is this the same trash company that picks up that?
It is right now, yeah. No, the Republic is
actually
our dumpster.
Republican.
Yeah,
Republic.
Republic is our dumpster company.
So there are other garbage bills besides just,
Oh, there's a
This is
lot
just-
of garbage
this is
companies.
just-
Yeah,
personal garbage?
yes. This is just for residential and small business.
Okay.
Yeah. For the individual cart service.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Good evening, Mr. President,
Good
and
evening.
council, and everyone else. Tracy Wells, 610 Mooney Avenue. Just for point point of clarification, why are we doing a contract along with Ponchatoula?
We have done that historically for many years because we get a better price.
Okay, thank you. And then for the number of garbage containers, because they're charging per unit, so the number of containers is 6,038. So in order to get a correct number, as you were asking, it's that price times 6,038, which is $123,658 a month. For many people, $8 may not seem like a lot, but $8 a month is actually $96 a year. And for some of your constituents, that may be about 3 months of their water bill consecutive, if you average $30 a month. So by you making a decision, and I heard Mr. Leon, Councilman Leon, say that his constituents are complaining about the current service, but have you all asked your constituents, would $8 a month extra actually make any kind of dent? That's my first question. My second question is, several of you mentioned that you were not told about the termination of the contract. I understand that just through research that I've done today, that our mayor or who's ever in that position has the authority, without your advice or your input, for any contract under $25,000. If it exceeds that, then it has to come to you all. Why don't he or she have to come to you all when you terminate a contract? And I found an attorney general's opinion back in 2009 where another city mayor terminated a contract for garbage. Although it wasn't under the home rule charter, the attorney general did have an opinion that said once the council made the decision to ratify, meaning to make a decision on a new contract, they gave the mayor the authority. So once you pass this contract, you're actually agreeing and saying you're terminating Amway's contract, which they may be able to come back and say otherwise, because you all were not involved in the discussion at all. So I think you need to really think about, before you make this decision, one, of whether or not you want us, the taxpayers, to pay an extra $8 a month, which I really don't want to. And two, do the mayor have the authority to terminate Amway's contract without you? And I don't know if Mr. Andre can address that since he wrote the contract, but you need to consider, are we putting ourselves in a legal bind that Amway can then come and say otherwise?
I can address that last point. Amway is very willing to terminate that contract. And the question of the mayor's authority circles back to what contracts require council approval. And the reason why contracts over $25,000 come to you is because there's a specific ordinance that says if a contract exceeds $25,000, the council must affirm those contracts. I didn't prepare that ordinance. That came up from a council member back from years and years ago. That's what it says. It's just one line. So that's why the original contract came to you. That's why this contract would come to you, because it exceeds $25,000. Now, that ordinance doesn't say that any contract affirmed by the council must agree to terminate that contract. So if you look at the language of the ordinance itself, it only requires front-end approval by the council if it exceeds $25,000. It doesn't say back-end approval is necessary, and termination of a contract doesn't have, the expenditure amount by the city. So called upon to make that opinion, my opinion has been consistently that, yeah, the council approval is necessary on the front end, but not on the back end. So that's why the council would have to approve, in my opinion, that's why they would have to approve new contracts in excess of $25,000, but not have to approve contracts that are terminated.
So in other words, Andre, if we approve this contract, we still have to come back to approve the actual amount that each citizen will be charged on their bill.
Yes, this only just says we're going to go forward with Waste Pro for this bid amount. That doesn't address the question of what adjustments might be made to the residents' bills.
You know, it's funny. I'm sorry, you finished, Mr. President? It's funny how this will come up, you know, in which, God knows, I'm not scared to vote on nothing. But it's funny how this come up right in the middle of election time, you know. It just amazed me how these things come up. And, you know, nothing against the new company. I don't even know if y'all got the contract or not, but pretty much look like y'all got the contract, because now we up against, now if we don't even vote on this tonight, now we up against paying $275 an hour. That's what we up against. Should nobody, no one person, no city councilman, we shouldn't put nobody in that situation. This is a bad situation we're in right now. It don't look good at all. It don't. So the mayor put us in a bad situation. You know, that this done come up right now. And I know I'll vote on anything that's right. But if it's not right, I'm not gonna vote on it. This not right at all. This is not good. We're gonna vote on this, then now we're gonna vote on the citizens. The taxpayer got an increase. It's not good. This one thing y'all should have stayed in the closet a little bit longer on. It shouldn't have come out right now. It's not good. It's a bad decision.
I think this is not something that anybody wants right now. I don't think somebody wants this at any time, to hear that a price is going to increase. It was Amwaste that came forward with a price increase. And the price increase at that point was so high that there was going to be this whole discussion of a potential rate increase to the customers.
It was $16 some change what they were asking for, which was still much less than what we're talking about right now.
I understand.
That's what I'm getting at. And they were still in contract, under contract with us. And so, of course, you know, I mean, it was a good deal, and it's going to continue to go up.
If you'd like to continue with them, with the 387 complaints since January 1st, 2020, and the 138 complaints in 2022, the additional 185 debris and tree limb complaints, then we can continue with that. We can also select their choice of $21.95 a unit.
Did y'all ever meet with them? Did y'all ever meet with them whenever the earlier on in the year?
We've met with them many times.
As administration?
We've met with them many times. We've called many times on Friday when the trash isn't emptied and we're going into the full weekend. I mean, like, this isn't, these complaints are not, these are from your constituents. These are from the people who live in the city.
I know. A lot of them, they called me and they you know, declined. That's all I'm getting at. So,
No, everybody been complaining. I mean, we get complaints about the police department. We get complaints about trash. We get complaints about the city workers. We get complaints about, now that you said it, every time I try to get something done, the city workers, they don't have enough workers. They out with COVID. We got this complaint. This here worker can't do this here. You just heard about a water fountain, a brand new water fountain. And here we still looking for parts for a brand new water fountain. Who buy a brand new car and look for parts? Hell, you send the car back. Give me another car. But a water fountain, but it don't matter, because guess what? You're not the ones drinking out that water fountain. Those kids in that park never got opportunity to drink out the water fountain. And we know it's been hotter this year than ever before. So everybody been complaining. I go to Popeyes, they closed down. They don't serve breakfast no more because they can't find no workers. So everybody complains. So now and it don't matter to me. I just want good service, and I want it where it won't go up on the residents. That's all I want. I don't care who it is. The city can pick the trash up. Just don't go up on the rates. That's all I'm asking for.
All right.
So at this point, what are the options right now, as far as we got this on the table here? But as far as when would what we have in place right now stop picking up if there was wanting to, I mean, can you renegotiate anything at this point? with any of them?
I mean, that's a hard question. I mean, this
And
has
it-
all been discussed with
Well, they
the
should've been-
existing company to extend the time where they continue to collect.
Yeah.
So they're going to continue to collect to the end of this month.
Yeah.
That was our agreement. And the new company, Waste Pro, has committed to begin 1st of next month, October 1st.
So you see, we still have a problem though with the rate, and I think that's the concern is that we can approve this, but we got to turn it over to the taxpayer, the constituents, the ones in, I'm gonna say District 3. That's what I'm up against. So we can sit here and say yes, we can sit here and say no, and I know it's no money for you guys, but in my community, it's a lot of money. 50 cents extra gonna be too much. That's what I'm up against. That's what I see. And you all know when it come to District 3, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. They don't have the money to spend. So I think the question was asked, what do we do right now? How long can we keep the other company for another month, for another 2 months? What do we need to do?
Well, I can't answer that. We've already extended it once. So their commitment now is to the end of this month. I can't promise you they'll agree to extend that.
That extension to the end of this month, is that for the previous rate, or did we pay them more?
No, that's the rate.
The old rate?
Yes, the old
Well,
rate.
which obviously they don't want to continue
Correct.
and will not continue, or
Correct.
they wouldn't have bid $21
Correct.
a unit.
Now, I guess we could go to them. I don't know the legalities of negotiating after they already put on everybody to put their prices in. I mean,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
once
you can't-
everybody's put their prices
Yeah.
in, their prices are in.
And then Amwaste knew
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Waste Pro's price was, which was 18. If they really wanted the contract, they would have made sure that they were close to that. So, I mean, I think that's a big message of, we're good, we're done.
This is going back and forth, but I got a couple of questions I needed an answer from me. One is, the contract is gonna be for how many years?
5.
Yeah, 5.
5-year contract?
Yeah.
Ooh. So, the previous company had 5 years also? Is that correct?
Was it 4? I think it was 4
4?
years, and it expires next year. I think it was 4 years.
They had 1 year left on their contract.
And it was void before their contract was up?
Yes.
I'm not gonna say it was void. Amwaste came to the city and wanted.
can't hear you, Steve.
Amwaste came to the city. They wanted out. We didn't tell them to get out. They wanted out because they wanted more money. I mean,
They wanted
that's
an
what I keep
increase.
hearing.
Okay.
They wanted more money, and instead of giving them more money, they opted out. They wouldn't continue to provide service at the price we were paying.
Okay. Being a resident, I know every month this bill comes in, okay? Water, you got your sewer service, you got this and that. And, a 5-year contract at the moment, to me, is kind of, since we had another 8 months or whatever left on the previous contract, even though they might have been doing a bad job, but then again, it would depend on the officials of the city of Hammond or the council people to notify the mayor or whoever to rectify that. Why all of a sudden we're looking at, I'm saying all of a sudden because it's new to me. I've been out of contact for quite a while. So have everybody else. But all of a sudden we're looking at a big 5-year contract. And in my book, that's pretty potent. So if you're going to pass on an extra charge to your you know, your people in the city of Hammond, they're not voting for that. What gives us, or what gives the city council the right to vote for that? To say, yay, you know, we're gonna pass this on because this company, Am South or Am whoever, who's the name of the company?
Amwaste.
Amwaste.
Amwaste. So Amwaste might, you know, I've had service with them for 4 years. I've only had trouble once. And they skipped like maybe 1 or 2 times. And things is tough, you know? So with Katrina, I mean, with Ida, with, you know, with all these things going on, but this company now is under a lot of pressure. You know, you're putting them in a bad spot in my book. I knew I wouldn't want to have my company. The man said out of his mouth, he normally has 90 days to adjust. Now you're throwing him out there. It's going to be very difficult for him to go and operate the city of Hammond and provide the service that he wants to do. You know, I feel the company is probably adequate. I don't really know him, but I'd like to know a little more history about him. But I feel that's an injustice to put these people in that position, number one. I mean, how would, if you took it, if I had that company, I would be very, very concerned. And then the people of the city of Hammond is really going to be concerned because when they get that little extra $2,
$8.
$8? Extra $8? Whoa. Excuse me. I'm going to tell you what. You hadn't heard from the city of, you know, Hammond's people. But if you give them an $8 bill without them being notified or being, you know, I mean, to me, $8, I'm sorry. I don't want to pay another $8 a month. Even though Amwaste or whatever, they, you know, they wasn't doing a great job, but they was doing a pretty good job. They was collecting. So I think the council is kind of sitting back a little bit by, for one thing, not being informed. The second thing is the council should have, you know, when they got wind of it, they should have got with the mayor or the city officials and said, hey, I mean, the president of the council, Mr. Andrews, should, you know, he should have been known a little something, or somewhere along the line, somebody had to say something. So I don't really know, you know. I mean, that's what I'm asking the president. I'm not asking the whole council, but I'd like to ask the president, was he notified of this and previously or anything?
Oh, yeah, we've been in discussions with this for a while due to the fact of the service that we were receiving from Amways. I've known about the company that the mayor mentioned earlier about with the cameras on the truck. He's talked about that before. So to say it was a surprise to some, it could have been. I don't know if they individually talked with them or not. But again, at this point where we're sitting at, I understand everything that has been stated. We're going to have to do something.
First and foremost,
because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because the trash is going to have to be collected. And we're looking at the type of service that we have received from Amway. Everybody up here has received calls about it. So
well, you're actually in a hard spot. You know, you representing your district, and if you go to your people and go door to door saying, hey, I need to be reelected, which you don't have anyone running against you, which you're very fortunate. So if you go to your people and say, hey, we're gonna raise y'all, you know, your bill $8 a month, what they gonna tell you in reality?
Probably not gonna like it.
And this is what I'm saying. Even though that company did a bad job, but they still was picking up the trash.
Okay.
Look,
I understand all of this. I agree with you 100%. I have multiple garbage pickups at different businesses, homes, everything, rental property. I don't want to pay $8 per bill either. So we can all agree nobody wants to pay more, right? But we have a couple of options. Our contract with Amwaste is terminated. Right now we are working on the end of this month. If we don't figure something out, which we have requests for proposals, nobody's renegotiating their prices because everybody's put their prices on the table. So we have to the end of this month to find somebody to pick up our garbage. Or we're going to have garbage in the street. And if people are mad about $8 bills, they're going to be real mad when nobody's picking up their garbage. So we are stuck right now at a situation I'm not happy about, none of us are happy about, but we have to do something. And right now, we're faced with the cheapest price that we have been given. This is not a rate increase. We still have to do that. But we got to move on and get garbage ready to go October 1st, or we're going to have garbage sitting on the streets.
So Amwaste was not staying here for the same price for the next 8 months, which in 8 months, we're going to have to get a new contract with someone. They were not staying for the same price. They wanted $4 more. We negotiated with Waste Pro for $2 more than that. That didn't get accepted. We went out for the RFP, and the prices came back for what they are. So they were not going to stay here for the next 8 months for the same price we have been paying them. They wanted $4 more, or they were going to terminate, which they did. They chose to opt out. So here we are. Council decided for RFP, which is good. We RFP'd. The proposals came back. This is what we have. So whether it's 8 months down the road or right now, we need a new contract. And there are very few people going to come in and get a 1-2 year contract with anyone when you're bringing this kind of equipment in or purchasing equipment or what have you. So just a reminder, they were not staying here. If they wanted to stay here for that 8 months, that was off the table. So
Well,
they were raising it $4. They raised it, they agreed to do it for an additional $2. Then the RFPs went out and the price came back at what they are now. That's our options.
Now, what Ms. Carley said was that it's $8 per month now. Is that correct?
That's an estimate. So that's just an estimated amount. We need to have the numbers broken down. Nobody's going to get an increased bill right now if we pass this, because we have to do it by ordinance to increase rates. And so we have to determine what those new rates would be. So just using numbers in front of us, we're just saying $8. Could be $6. I can't imagine it's over $8, but.
Okay. Well, and the second thing I have really is, I was hearing between people talking, and that Ponchatoula is going to tie in with this company, if I'm not.
Yes.
You know, so since Ponchatoula is going to tie in, is this company going to say, you know, maybe we could adjust something out since we're taking Ponchatoula and Hammond in?
That's what this price is.
That's based upon Ponchatoula also?
Yes.
Okay, and Ponchatoula agree with that?
All three of these requests for proposals that we received were with the understanding of both Hammond and Ponchatoula together. We're priced as one. And so, yes, Ponchatoula is agreeing with this price. Is that correct?
Has it been approved yet with them?
I don't know.
And if it's not
They're taking
approved
it
with
through
them,
their
then-
council as well.
So
So
if it's not approved with them, then it'll be one. I'm just saying if it hasn't been, it'll be just one. So how's that going to?
we have these numbers
Yeah.
that have
Still-
been given to us. So these numbers are solid. This is the number that we have to negotiate. So we sign our contract and Ponchatoula signs their contract with these numbers. There
Would it
won't be
be-
any more discount because that was the best number we could get. That's why we fly with Ponchatoula to have a higher count so that we can get a lower cost.
Mr. President, I thank you. I think the end results to me is lack of communication totally between the city council, the representatives of the city, and it's getting to be election time. Everything's getting heated up. People are getting all upset, But what's good for the city is what counts. And each and every one of us. I mean, I've lived here all my life, and I've had issues with the city myself previously. And the mayor, unfortunately, is no fault of his. He's provided what I needed whenever I asked. The city council and stuff has provided some. But what's happening is just the communication is really, I guess it's, you know, everybody don't know what's happening the way it sounds to me, even the whole council, you know? And this proposal is going to be a 5-year contract. That's a lot of money, 5 years, you know? But you said it's going to be on the garbage going to be on the street. Well, maybe, you know, maybe that'll shake the city up with the garbage on the street. I don't know. But thank y'all anyway.
All right, pleasure of the council.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
No.
Reports, Mayor? No reports, council report.
When are the demolitions coming up on the agendas? Anything going on with those? I thought it was supposed to be on by now, last time I checked in. So where we're at?
I think the last update we had was that was going to be October. It was either going to be late September or early October. So not this meeting, but potentially next meeting or the meeting after that. I don't know where they are in terms of their notifications, but I can find out that in the morning.
That'd be good. And then also, we getting some calls about I know it's private property, but the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center with the holes and the craters. I know, but it's to the point now where they're calling me up a lot more, and we may need to step in, do some barricades or something just for public safety.
We've talked to that parking lot owner.
Mm-hmm.
They have told us that they hope to have completed all of their repairs by the end of October in that parking lot. So we've also put people who have had challenges with property damage and other things like that in touch with that owner so that they can remedy that situation.
I know it's been going on a while, and
They
as
made
far as
repairs
people getting-
earlier. They made
Yeah.
their last permit, their last repairs were last fall, November. It was November of 2021 when they made some repairs earlier and then into the beginning of
I've
this year.
seen them, yeah, but they're in my district. I'm just saying some of them are still there really deep,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe they can flag them somehow or put some kind of barricade around them or whatnot. That would be good. I don't know if you talked to the owner, can you ask them?
We've talked about all of those things.
Okay.
And we've talked about the schedule of completing the repairs as quickly as possible.
Okay.
But there's Music in the Park has been rescheduled to this Friday because of rain last Friday. So Kate Square Park on Friday from 5:30 to 7:30. And then there's also a public hearing for the DDD on Tuesday, September 20th, for input regarding Hot August Night here in council chambers. I wanted to announce both of those.
Any other reports?
Yes, got the debris on Brent Street, right off of Mississippi Street. And I got the debris on Florida Street. So hopefully this time we take the notes down again, act like you're taking the notes down, and it get picked up this time. Yes,
I sent another email as we were here in the meeting, so.
okay.
Councilman Leon? Okay. Lisa, I have an area on MLK. The trees are growing into the power line. You see about getting that cut. I'll send it to you. I'll send it.
And that being mentioned, I'm glad you mentioned that. We talked about the trees. We got the new lights on Mooney Avenue. But yet we still got a lot of the limbs in the way of the new lighting. And it's, you know, let me say it. It's like I come up here and I talk about things need to be done in the area. And you make it look like you're taking the notes down. But yet we still have issues. You know, the trees not one time, you know, Mr. Sal said it, and, you know, and I thank Mr. Sal for that. You know, communication is bad. I do things through emails, so I can keep a record for myself. But I'm pretty much tired of the emails. I got a record for myself, but I can't get no response saying we looked at it, we didn't look at it, we're gonna get to it, we're not gonna get to it. I don't get no response, and it's like it's getting old. It's getting old, and that's not good. You're not hurting me. You're hurting the citizens. So and everything that I do, whether you know it or not, it's never about Devon. It's always about the district and the city of Hammond. And since I've been up here hollering, I'm always talking about District 3 and the city of Hammond. Let's do what's best for the city of Hammond and the district that I represent. But communication can't be straight tonight, so I'm not looking for it to be straight. But tonight, moving forward, let's continue to make it about the citizen and really address the citizen needs, because whether it's me, anybody, the citizen asks me to represent them. The city, I ask the city to look into the things. Do something, say something. Don't act like it's new or you haven't heard nothing about it. So hopefully these things that I'm asking for, that we get something done. The contracts are doing work on Coleman Street. We done had a lot of dry days, and I expect to see the cement trucks doing more in front of Hammond Junior High. So that need to be wind up. You know, that should have been a project started before school started. You know, I say that again. So we have to do a better job. We have to. And take me out of it and make it strictly about the citizens. You don't even have to put me in it. Make it about the citizens. But send me something, and I've been asking for this from day one. Send me something saying we're gonna look at it in 1 week. And this is what I tell the citizen. So now y'all will know. They come up here for a reason. They come up here because they have issues. So I have to tell them to come up here in order to get problems solved. And it's the truth. Every time one of them come up here, the problem gets solved. But why the problem can't get solved without them coming up here? I represent them. So if I say they have an issue, let's work on it. But you got to have 2, 3, 4 people from District 3 got to come up here, and the mayor go walk through the audience and talk to them. Just read the email. Fix the problem right then and there, and they don't have to come up here. 82, 91, 17, 18, they shouldn't have to come up here just to get something small done. They're not asking for a driveway. They're asking for simple stuff. And then I got you all up here looking like he this, he that. But you know what? I'm going to always be that because I'm representing District 3, and we need help. Not just keep getting the grant money and the money don't go back in the community. Let's get the problem solved. Every last one of you councilmen and councilwomen, you all know how long I've been crying about Brent Street. Y'all ought to be the first one to holler. Why you ain't took care of that, Mr. Mayor? You ought to take care of that. Y'all should be saying that about a damn stop sign. 7 months to get a stop sign. All these little things, shouldn't nobody have to go through this. We want the same service as everybody else. The sewer issues, you know, I had to bring that up because they keep talking about that. You know, when can I get an update? Yeah, you told me about the insurance company. I just heard that tonight. You know, and I tell everybody, God knows, I do not have private meetings. I want everything to be, because it's not my money. It's the taxpayers' money. So guess what? If we're going to have a meeting, let's talk about it at the council meeting. For the taxpayer know exactly what's going on with their money. So that's why I do the things I do, and I'm not going to stop. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome.
Before I forget, the nonprofits, I don't know, my opinion would be to get with the board that we appointed to make a recommendation that fits in with the budget. Maybe they can meet in this couple weeks. Lacey, can you maybe reach out to them to see? I mean, that's kind of my opinion, let them come to us with a recommendation that fits in the budget, and try to have it to us maybe by next meeting. I know I talked to mine. I think he would be, willing to meet throughout the year to try to get a better plan and work with the committee to figure out a better process and structure for next year, that where we would hopefully not have as many issues. So have y'all been in touch with them lately or anything?
No, because at the last meetings, like several meetings ago, when they brought forward all of the stuff and had the presentation from that chair of that committee, and she gave you all the options, there was no council decision about the committee doing additional work. The committee doing additional work on the guidelines was discussed, and that's what was agreed upon. So they're looking towards the fall now, October, November, to work on the guidelines for next year's procedure. But I think it was communicated through the council on that night that this was going to be the council's decision for this go-around. So there's been some different options. They did make the option and discuss it several times about maybe making a startup grant for newer organizations, or, there's lots of options on the table.
Well, my vision was when we got the board, the committee to get set up, was to get them set up, get us a recommendation that fit in within budget, which it didn't fit in with budget. We gave them budget and we went over. So, we have that committee set up, hopefully to bring us the recommendations that fit within the budget. So, and then also work throughout the year to get a good system possibly in place to have ready for next year, not wait till next year to work on it. Like they can meet once a month or whatever the going time frame is. But I would think I would like for them to give us a recommendation that fits in the budget and then bring it to us so where we can vote on it. I mean, that's kind of where
They would have to meet between now and next Thursday. I mean, to give enough time to bring it to the council.
I mean, my recollection was that we told them, we understand you didn't get the number within budget because their complaint to us is that we didn't give them the guidelines they needed. So they basically said, we're not making a decision. We decided to give everything their ask. And it was communicated, I thought, within the meeting. I think, Kip, I had asked you if you felt the same way, that the council will have to determine the amount. And it wasn't going to go back to the grants committee. I'm not sure if you had discussions with your person. I know I did, and I said, I feel like, from what I've heard, the council is going to have to decide this one.
I just, I don't, we created a committee to give us a suggestion. So, I mean, that's my opinion, to stay with that setup and then have them work towards staying in the budget. Gave them a budget, and I made that comment then to them that, I'd like to add two plans, one that fit within budget, I mean, at least one that fit within budget, and then one that went over to give them everything they asked for. But all we had was one over. So we voted on it to not extend it and not to put more money into it. So I just assumed that maybe that somebody was going to talk with them or what to get it set back up. But obviously that didn't happen. So here we are, and I'd like to get moving on it for the nonprofits. But the whole setup was, when we originated, was for the board to give us recommendations. So I would like for it to still, for them to do it. And if they can't meet between now and next meeting, well, you can email us and let us know. But I mean, you can at least try and ask them, see if they can meet, and then they can't. I mean, we'll worry about it, I guess, address that then. I mean, I don't know, we got to ask them first. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to do that.
And for the record, no, all the groups didn't get what they asked for the record.
No, that's what the committee recommended. But it was
Yeah.
over the budget.
And none of the groups have gotten anything yet.
Right.
So
Yeah, and
nobody's
so
gotten-
now,
Yeah.
I think at this here moment, we still got everybody out there. Have anybody received anything?
No.
No,
Okay,
y'all haven't
so-
affirmed contracts for anything.
Okay, so, and we got two groups that was undecided on how much to give them, right?
Well, the committee's decided 100%. Everybody got it. It just doesn't work because there's not enough money there. No one got cut under the committee.
Yeah, I understand that. What I'm saying, we still have two groups out there. All the other groups know what they get.
No, they don't, because we haven't approved any contracts.
No groups have been funded. The six that were out there, you only approved the contracts for the ones that were done, like for the animal shelter and those groups.
There's a pot of 225 right now that needs to be allocated to these several groups right now to fit within budget with that. So that's the problem right here. I'd like to get this expedited. I'd like to get them to meet, within between now and the next meeting. And if they can't, I mean, then we'll, I guess we'll figure that out. But I would imagine, I don't think they had much time in advance first when they met. So I mean, I would think they would want to meet. I mean, they were appointed, and I'm sure they would love to help us out.
I would guess that's probably, they were very unstructured, and they had a lot of complaints about not knowing their guidelines.
That's what we were.
But we haven't given them any guidelines, so if we still say, okay, go back, figure it out. We're not giving you guidelines. We want you to create guidelines in the next year. But before you do that, go ahead and figure out a way to make it fit in budget. I mean, we're asking them to do what we have to do.
Well, I know, but we didn't have guidelines when we gave it to us. That's what I'm saying. That's why we were trying to get this committee started a while back, so where they can kind of look at some things and get it working. We gave them at least a budget to work with. So for every year, we really didn't have a structure. That's why we've always had problems every time picking and choosing throughout who's better than who or who deserves this or that. So I mean, that's the big deal. And so that's what, I was hoping for the committee to kind of work on that to, it may not be perfect this time, but it's going to continue to get better, I would hope. Well, they got a budget to start off with now. So, I mean, they need to meet again, or was it just dissolved?
No, they were going to continue to meet to create guidelines for the future.
Yeah, they agreed to meet in the later fall, winter months to create the guidelines. They were not given a directive by the council that evening to meet again to bring something within budget.
So real quick, so what do y'all want to do? Y'all want to take care of it yourselves as the council members, or you want to let the board that we created come back and give us a recommendation that works within budget? That's pretty much simple right there. That's how I feel. So whatever y'all want to do, I mean.
Well, it looks as if we're going to have to make the decision from the conversation that I had with my person that was on the board.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I think they're done.
Yeah.
I think they've given it back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back on us, so we have to make the decision. So when are we gonna make the decision?
So what did what really? So I mean, this year, really, they didn't do anything. I mean, they didn't. What I mean by that is, it was just we shouldn't even appointed a group until after this meeting, I guess, after this budget, because if they were contacted and had a structure to be given to them in the first place from the administration, that had something to do and work off of. So now we're here back at square one, doing the same thing.
I think the committee was created by the council,
Right. To make a recommendation to us, and we gave them a budget. That's
right, but I'm saying that they were given no direction by the administration. I mean, it's the council's committee.
Yeah.
We didn't give them direction.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, what do we want to do with the nonprofits right now then?
Put them on the next agenda, and we have to vote on it.
Right.
That'll work.
Keep it in budget.
Yep.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.